In this video, we're going to be talking about the 2 types of blocks that you might be encountering upon your spiritual journey, your personal development journey, wherever you are in your life. We always have blocks as human beings, right? This is literally just our innate nature. And if we are not careful, if we are not aware in our conscious mind of what blocks actually are and what type of blocks, because there are 2 types of specific blocks that we deal with, right? Some of us might be working on one type and then being like, I'm still stuck. Why is this? And I'm going to explain and break this down in this video for you. So if you've come and you've clicked on this video and you're feeling blocked in any way of your life, you're doing money blocks, you're doing love blocks, whatever the blocks are, right? Career blocks, health blocks. I'm going to explain what blocks are, and then we're going to dive into the 2 different types and how you can start to fix these or heal these and move beyond the block so you're no longer stuck, okay? First of all, we're going to go into my acronym of block. Now, what is a block? This is a burial. Oh, actually, this is buried layers of conscious knowledge. That is all a block is in Jaini's terms. This is my perspective on blocks. This came as a download. So blocks, buried layers of conscious knowledge, but it's buried beneath layers, okay? So what does this mean? Consciousness that has been turned into knowledge is everything in the mind. Now, when we go into the buried, right, this means it's deep. It's something you have to dig to receive it out, to get rid of it, right? With the layers, I always think of tiers. So you'll have a top layer, a middle layer, a bottom layer, and then you might even have roots that go within those layers, okay? So this again connects with the deep and the depth of this, of which, you know, we'll just put belonging, because of something, it has to belong to something. And it's belonging to the person, the individual. So you, if you're watching this, their consciousness, which consciousness is the mind, intellect, logic, and knowledge, wisdom, knowledge is embodied. Well, with knowledge I'm putting down here is you can only have a block when you've embodied a particular knowledge, right? Embodied a particular experience, which turns into knowledge of that thing. Lessons. Okay. So if you're sitting here and you're watching this, you're like, yeah, I do have some deep, deep layers that belong inside of my mind, because your block, where does it start? Before you even clicked on this video, it was in your headspace of I'm blocked, I'm blocked, I'm blocked, because I hear this all the time. My own intellect does this, right? Whenever I encounter a block, the first thing I go is, okay, what knowledge is deep, deep within me? And this can go down into the subconscious as well, which is where the work of digging deep comes into this, right? Where we have to go into the subconscious to sometimes get rid of these blocks, because there are so many layers that your conscious mind has embodied. It's pushed beneath the conscious into the subconscious mind. Now think of the subconscious mind like an iceberg. And I have another video on this that you can go and check out for the conscious and the subconscious mind. Those of you who are new here and you're like, what are you talking about, Jaini? The conscious mind is basically the feeder. It's the 10% of your mind, right? It's not the bigger chunk of it. And so if your block is being perceived, if you're taking on and you're analyzing, okay, I'm blocked, you're doing it with your conscious mind, which is only 10%. So if you're trying to remove that block with the same 10%, the 90% is actually deep buried in your subconscious mind. So a lot of people don't know how to speak to the subconscious mind, and that's why I've created this video, and that's why this download has come through, because there are 2 main types of blocks, and underneath those 2 main types of that umbrella, that's where you go in and you do this deep work that has been buried. You get every layer that is in your subconscious, or the majority of the dominant layers, because sometimes we don't need to do every single intricate layer. We just need the most dominant thought or belief pattern that has been rooted in your subconscious through your lived experiences, through your lived lessons and knowledge and everything that you've taken on to be true through your conscious mind. that has fed now the subconscious that believes it to be true. Even if you want to change your state of mind, you cannot seem to do it, right? This is why, because it gets trapped beneath the surface. It gets trapped underneath. And until you go underneath and pull that shit out and replace it with what you do want the new conscious knowledge to be, you will stay in this energy of block. Stuck is another thing, right? And this is again where I talk about the subconscious triggers. You can go and check out the video, which I will link at the top here, because I've done a whole other video on that, and that's very similar to this concept as well. So you want to really be diving deeper and deeper into this knowledge, because the more that you can understand this, the more you know how to apply it to yourself. You don't need more programs, you don't need more coaches, you don't need people to do this for you. You can go and do the work yourself, right? And that's my intention. For most of my videos, I don't want to be there holding your hand. I've done coaching in the past and I don't love it. I don't enjoy it, because why? That person, I'm not empowering them to do the work themselves. What I'm doing is doing the work for them. And so with these videos, my aim is to put everything I teach my clients and in my programs and in all my courses is literally the same stuff here, right? Obviously, we just go a lot more deeper in the programs, but this is enough to get you on that journey of your own self-discovery and unblocking yourself. So you are watching this, you have buried layers of conscious knowledge, and conscious knowledge can also be conditioned. This is what we call conditioning, okay, or conditioned. And you're a conditioned individual because you've been conditioned by the world around you. So knowledge, again, this turns into knowing, because when you go to school, when you grow up with your parents, they will teach us things. And as a child, who do we trust the most? Our caregivers. So if our caregivers are telling us, yes, you do this, it becomes an automatic belief to our subconscious mind. We do not question it. We take that as our truth. And what that is doing is conditioning our subconscious mind to knowing that that is our truth. And until we are able to go and change that deep-rooted knowing into a completely different belief system, and that is the hardest work here, this block is going to remain in your life. And I'm telling you this from a space of love, because it can be so hard. And I've done this. I've been in this cycle of like over 10 years of being in toxic relationships before I manifested my soulmate, because I was so heavily blocked here in the knowingness. I had this knowingness that I deserved, I wasn't worthy of love, right? Because that's how I perceived the world around me. That's what my conscious conditioning took me into with my embodied lessons and experiences from childhood, was that I had to work hard to receive love. I wasn't worthy of receiving the type of love that my heart wanted, because I'd been conditioned to a knowingness, a particular level of knowingness that was internalized by these experiences. And that's where I was the victim of my own life, right? Until I dug deep into this subconscious, into the layers, and I decided, no, this is not me, this is conditioning. And that in itself, if you sit here right now and you go and you journal, and this is why we journal, we reflect, we go into the spaces where you think that this block may have started, and you slowly trace back those beliefs and you give them back to yourself. The work is to reclaim that knowing into a new empowering identity statement that will feed your conscious mind and your subconscious a new sense of knowing. And that's where you become unblocked. But sometimes this can happen very quickly. And this is where you hear stories about manifestation being literally in the space of like 2 weeks or 2 days. Like my soulmate happened in 2 days, and I'll tell you why, because there's 2 types of blocks, remember? So you have to be unblocking yourself from both of these spaces, because if you're just doing one, sometimes it doesn't work, and I'll tell you why as we go through this. So if you haven't made your notes already, make your notes, pause this video, come back to it, and just take a picture of this. But we have to revisit until you find yourself unblocked. This is the work you want to be focusing on, okay? Because attention goes where energy flows. Energy flows where attention goes. And so if your attention is constantly on, oh, this is not working, guess what you're feeding your subconscious mind non-stop? The same knowingness that, yes, this is my reality, this is shit. And that is the hardest part of this journey that we have to really get disciplined and focus our energy in on. Not focusing on what we don't want, but focusing on that new identity that we are trying to shift into, that new area where we don't want to feel blocked. We want to be focusing our mind and visualization on those things, right? Now, these are the 2 blocks. So I said there were 2 blocks, 2 types. Up here, if I just write again, what were blocks? Buried, layers of conscious or conditioned. Sorry about my writing, guys. I just get into the stuff I'm teaching and then it. Knowledge or knowing. Now, when I say knowing as well, this is with full conviction. You know, when you know something, like when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking from 100% authority and conviction in what I am saying, because that is so deeply ingrained in my soul identity that what I'm speaking is my truth. What I'm speaking is truth. No matter if you don't think it's truth, it doesn't sway me. That's the level of conviction you have to get out of your blocks. Okay, and this is part of manifestation, you guys. So, block 1 is your mental blocks. Now, this is where all your mindset comes in. Okay, this is where you do your limiting belief works. This is where you have to dig deep into what beliefs do you have, and you need to remove them from your subconscious mind, right? This is where affirmations come through, the stories you say to yourself, your memories that you constantly replay in your headspace. This is all happening in your mental plane, okay? The type 2, now this is where we start, because every block starts in the mind usually, because it's very easy for me, like literally if I take an example right now, if you're watching this and you are stuck on manifesting your soulmate, or let's talk about spiritual, I don't know, you're unhappy with your job, let's go with that. You feel blocked in your current job, right? So there will be a belief that is telling you, I'm stuck, I hate my job, I hate my job. You can easily switch that in your mental plane to, I love my job. Yes, you might not feel like you love your job, but the starting point is here, because when you say you hate your job, you will feel those emotions straight after that. Oh, sinking feeling, can't be bothered to go into work, hate my manager, hate this. And then your universe, your reality starts to reflect that, because reality is just a mirror around us, right? Reflecting exactly who we are being at any given moment. So it all starts with the mental plane. So what's the second block that we have to do? Once we've figured out, okay, this is our limiting belief, we have to move into the other block, right? Which is, type 2 of the block is the emotional block. And this is the bit where everybody gets stuck, because we cannot seem to get our feelings, right? Emotions are literally feelings. Everybody says it's emotion, energy in motion. So what we are doing is we have the mental plane, which is our mindset, which has all of these limiting beliefs that say, I hate my job, which is feeding your feelings of hate. So you hate your job, you feel low in your job, you have anxiety now because of this. And this is why I say anxiety and depression, it all starts in the mind and is linked and connected to the feelings that you're feeling. So how do we switch this around, right? Because the one thing we don't want to be doing is staying in this and feeding this same cycle, because this becomes the cycle that you will constantly live in a loop. And this is your block cycle, the block cycle. So how do we get out of it? By working deep into these buried layers. This is where we need to go. We need to go into these limiting beliefs, first of all, that are causing these feelings to occur, and switching them. Most of us, what we try and do is we go into the feelings of this and we try and fix this without fixing the mind first. So when we hate our job, we go to the doctors, we get a doctor's note. In the UK, that's what we do. And I've done this loads of times, guys, so I'm not saying this is how I learned, this is how I embody my wisdom now, because I know what to do, right? I don't feel anxiety anymore. Why? Because any time that I have a belief of, I hate this job, I change that immediately to, cool, I'm on to the next adventure. What next job can I go and apply for? I never let myself be conditioned to being stuck or chained down to just one job, one career. Now, this can go so deep, you guys. There are so many limiting beliefs, and this is what I'm doing in my program, Unwounded Warrior. You want to get in. I'll drop the links below for the wait list, but this is literally where we're going to go deep into all of these limiting beliefs that are there in your psyche, so that you can be aware of, oh my God, this is how deep this shit can go, and how it can be stored in your body. Because the feelings, the emotional plane, this is stored in your feelings, your emotions, which emotions are energy in motion, which means energy has to move somewhere and it's going inside of your body because you are not expressing it, right? So your emotional plane, you are storing these feelings. So this is why I had to do a lot of rage dancing and moving my hips. Like for feminines, I know that we store a lot of our emotions in our lower body. And so moving that space can be really healing. And this is where I've healed a lot of my stuff through dancing, right? Sensual pleasures as well. So just moving your body in any way. And when you combine these two together, that's when magic happens. When you set the intention of, this is the limiting belief I'm going to work on today, and you swap it with a more empowering version that you want to feed into your subconscious, and you pair that, you add that to the emotions. So say you say, okay, I hate my job. We are switching that to limiting belief to I can get any job in the world I want at any given moment. That is my freedom and my choice, right? But our mind blocks us saying, oh no, we have to stay here because otherwise I'll never be able to find a better job. Oh no, I'll never be able to get better, more money. I'll never be able to, oh no, my career is never going to take off because I keep chopping and changing jobs. That's conditioning. That is a lie. Don't believe the lies that you have been sold, because that is what's keeping you in this cycle of block. Okay, I have never ever kept a job for longer than 6 months, ever. And I've been working since the day I turned 15. I have never not had a job, but I've never stayed in a job longer than 6 months. And I've gained so much wisdom, so much experience, and so much capacity to hold freedom for myself and for others. Like if you're watching this, it's almost like I give permission to other people. And this is what happens with my clients where, oh, Jaini's doing it, so I can do it. Oh, Jaini's successful, so I can be successful too. Oh, she doesn't have a career, but she's getting cash somehow online. Money flows to me. Why? Because I allow myself to decondition from the beliefs of the world and society and trauma and all these buried layers. And I work through the feelings of anxiety. And I've had anxiety. I feel low. And I still have these cycles, you guys. This doesn't go away. This is something that you constantly have to be working on. But you just get better and stronger at holding and switching into those emotions that much faster, right? Because what you do consistently becomes second nature over time. So same thing with driving a car. Initially, you have to think about all the little moving parts. But once you do it every single day, day in, day out, if you're a driver, you know this, you'll get in the car now. You don't even have to think, do you? You just start driving. It's the same concept with this, this type of work. So initially you might be like, oh my God, there's so much to think about. No. You do it consistently over time. Eventually it will just be like, oh, I've got a block. Okay, cool. What's the limiting belief here? Journal it out. What do I want to swap over? What identity do I want to shift into? Okay, what are the feelings that are associated? How do I feel negative on the negative side? Okay, what do I want to replace that with? And the replacing side, I'll show you a very cool trick. Any emotion that you are feeling here from this limiting belief that is keeping you blocked, all you got to do to know what the feeling is on the opposite side is going into the opposite of that emotion. So for hate, you turn that into love. For low, you turn that into high. For anxiety, you want to turn it into excitement. For depression, you want to turn it into happiness. Now, you're not going to feel these emotions straight away. So be patient with yourself. You need a lot of grace. You need a lot of patience, because this is where the trust is cultivated. Sometimes we'll go into this dark hole, and I have been here many times, more than I want to ever be in. But I am now so comfortable with the womb. I call it the womb because we are in the womb space, right? Before we are born into this world for 9 months in the mummy's womb. And every single one of us is in this dark little space, this dark hole. And we're just growing. We're not doing anything. We are simply being. And if we think about this as adults, it's like, oh my God, that's the most boringest thing on planet Earth to do. But babies can never, ever come out of this world. Life can never be born on this planet unless it goes through that growth period. That is evolution. It's a necessity. It's a law of the universe. It's a principle. And this is why principles are so important rather than strategy and the how-tos sometimes, right? If you know the principles of how the universe is operating, how our earth is being governed, how everything operates in nature, nature has all the answers. In the same way, we have to, sometimes we're trying to birth something new. So for example, you've got a block. You are now trying to impregnate your mind. You're impregnating your subconscious with something new. Your mind is not going to just spurt it out, right? It might need 9 months of cocooning. I went through a really dark night of the soul. You can Google dark night of the soul, or I'll comment below if you want me to do a video on this. But this is simply what I call the womb space, the void, where you'll set a new intention and the universe will just block you. It'll just suddenly, you feel like your supply of what you used to know has just been taken away from you. Like suddenly, I don't know, I'll set the intention of, I want to manifest this amazing job. Okay, the current job, suddenly everything starts to go to shit. It looks like a shit show, when up until now it's been okay, it's been wavy, it's just been me not liking it. And now all of a sudden, okay, I'm being made redundant, or my job's been taken away, money stopped flowing in, my partner's breaking up with me. Like there's so much shit that can happen simply from you setting an intention. Now this is something not to be scared of. I want you to embrace this, because number one, growth cannot happen without discomfort. This is the discomfort that we have to go through. Babies, they're not comfortable crouched up in that little space, that womb space, and they're stretching and growing bigger and bigger in there. And that's why when it's time to come out, the waters break and they're like, poosh, they flow out of the canal. Babies. And that's how they're born, right? Because they're like, oh, it's unbearable now. Now I'm ready. And it's the same with the caterpillar and the butterfly. They have this space where they go into the darkness. The darkness is where they are growing beautifully and they emerge. And everybody wants to get to that emergence. Everybody wants to come to that end stage without going through the 9-month cycle. That is why most people remain blocked, or they don't bother doing the work for as long as necessary to get themselves out. So if I want you to take one main thing from this video, it's that your feelings can be swapped the immediate, like, so for example, I'll take anxiety. I used to have anxiety a lot because I hated my job. I didn't feel like I could leave there because I felt like my parents would look down on me. It was more so a fear of other people's judgments on me that kept me stuck. So if you're that person and you're watching this going, I can't just leave because my family will say this, I can't just do this because my best friend will tell me this, then that's just you fearing confrontation. And that's something that you have to be okay with stepping into as part of that next identity up level. Now, we all have multiple different layers of up levels, right? If you want a promotion at work, you have to get comfortable with uncomfortable conversations sometimes. You have to be okay with maybe talking to some of your colleagues at a lower level, and maybe you've always been at that lower level, so you have to now rise to the next bit of going, okay, I have to be disliked sometimes because I'm going to say things that maybe we were pally before and they're not going to like it, but you have to be very comfortable with that, because that's where the growth and the magic happens. So when you see people around you doing all this stuff, they're elevating their identity, they're growing into that, they're stepping into that. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable at first. Some things for some people might feel really natural. That's not your story to focus on. What you need to focus on is just the way you feel and the way you are thinking. If you master these two areas of your life, you become the master of your reality. And that's what we're here to do, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Like and subscribe and comment if you enjoyed this video, what you want to see more of. And I have my new programs that are coming out. So again, the links will all be dropped below if they're not already, very, very soon. Unwounded Warrior is the very first one that I am going through, where we are going to be working on the limiting beliefs, the conditioning, and we're going to recondition your mind to help you move through this blockages so you can actually start to thrive in your life. So if you want that, comment below. And I will see you in the next video. Mwah.